live from Tampa, site of the Final Four. Chiney, appreciate the time. Looking fantastic. You're there at ground zero. The top storyline for you entering tonight's matchups?
First of all, Stephen A., I get it. I understand. The breeze is nice. The weather is beautiful. I might stay here a little while. I get your point of view, Stephen A. I get your point of view.
I'm glad.
But if we're talking about storylines, right, there are so many that I love. But right now, the one that comes to the forefront of my mind is with 2 wins in Tampa Bay, this would be the 3rd championship in 4 years for South Carolina, for the Gamecocks. Isn't that the definition of a dynasty? What they have done is truly remarkable. 20-1 in the last 4 years in the tournament. And how have they gotten there? They've gotten there through Dawn Staley, a legend of the game, a player's coach, someone who herself is a Hall of Famer and an Olympian and has helped usher these ladies into next levels of greatness. How have they got there? They've gotten there through their defense. Sometimes people criticize this South Carolina team because, okay, maybe they don't put up points. Maybe they don't have a go-to player like they had Camila Cardoso in years past or Aaliyah Boston in years past, but still they find ways to get it done because of their dominant defense. And lastly, their depth. What's really cool about this South Carolina squad, it's not that they just reload and continue to get All-American after All-American. It's that they also, in this era of the transfer portal, they retain players. So they reload, they retain, and honestly, they haven't played their best version of basketball, and they're still here at the Final Four. To me, that's a beautiful storyline.
Well, thank you for letting the audience know why I picked Dawn Staley in South Carolina to win the national championship. I really appreciate that. Let me transition, however, to a game I'm very interested in with UConn versus UCLA. I've been thinking UConn because of Paige Bueckers. Obviously, she's looking for her championship. She's did her 4th Final Four, even though she was injured 1 year. Here's what I'm thinking about, Chiney. I'm reading up on UCLA. I only saw them twice this year. Now, this girl Betts is something special. National player. I mean, listen, Defensive Player of the Year, okay, first team All-American. And they surround her with shooters. This is the kind of game that UConn could lose. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You know one thing that my coach used to tell me, Tara Vanderveer? You can't teach height. You can't teach size. She is 6'7", and what she has done in the tournament is wild. You know, she is shooting 75% from the floor. She's had 30-point games. She's playing her best version of basketball. You know what's crazy about this matchup, Stephen A? You know, I know you're a boxing guy, right? Styles make fights. UConn has the perimeter scoring, the shooting with Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd, a sniper, and of course, Paige Bueckers. But if you think about UCLA, they play inside and out, and a lot of times people say that's the way you should play the game. They have someone that is virtually unguardable, and UConn has even admitted it. We talked to them earlier this week. They said, we've never seen someone a true 6'7" and dominant and works in deep the way that Lauren Betts does for UCLA. So this one is not a gimme game. This one is going to be, we'll see which style makes this fight.
Would you prefer the UCLA upset to see that in the second round? Or, remember, UConn winning facing South Carolina, the rematch from what we saw a couple months ago. South Carolina got waxed at home by 29.
Look, man, I want Paige Bueckers in the national championship game. That's what I want to see. I want to see a star.
Is that what you picked or what you want to see?
That's what I want to see. I want to see a star on the biggest stage. And here's why I'm going to pick UConn, because ultimately the X factor. Let's talk about Geno Auriemma for a second. The man's been coaching there for 40 years. This is his 24th Final Four. His 24th Final Four, okay? This is 4th straight Final Four. And then I'm looking at this, too. He ain't won a title since 2016. Now, I'm going to think about that. And if there's any crevice that he has to sift through to make sure his team is ready, I think he will do it.
Chiney, if UConn gets there for Bueckers, what does the championship mean for her and her place in history?
If Paige Bueckers seals the deal and wins a championship, she would be in rare air for 2 reasons. One, it's going to be a full circle moment for her. As a freshman, she won National Player of the Year, and then she got injured. She got hit with adversity. And then how did she respond? 3-time Big East Player of the Year, 3-time All-American. If you look at the numbers, I think she's number 3 in UConn history, career over her career at UConn in points. Only Brianna Stewart and I believe Maya Moore have more points that they have amassed during their tenure at UConn. She's actually number 1 in points per game. I think that 40-piece she dropped 2 games ago actually put her number 1 in points per game. She's a legend. All she needs in that bucket list is winning the title overall. But the second piece that I love is the fact that when you think about Paige Bueckers and UConn, I played against these teams and they were dominant. And we even had conversations here years ago saying, is UConn's dominance bad for basketball? The answer was no, right? It made everyone else level up. But oftentimes when you get in those situations, I talked to Geno about this 2 days ago, you tend to become villains. And sometimes it trickles down to the players. Playing against Stewie, I'm like, man, I hate playing against Stewie. I hate playing against Maya. I hate playing against Tina. I hate playing against Sue. I hate playing against Diana. For some reason, what I love, and it's probably the power of social media, Paige Bueckers is the first player in a long time at UConn that is truly beloved. Beloved as she's playing, as she's winning, and I think that's truly special, and that is her legacy. Whether she wins or not, she's brought so many fans to the game, and she is ultimately a winner, but also someone that brings people together, and I love that for her, on top of being resilient. So it's a win-win scenario, but she could put some icing on the cake.
I can appreciate her love, she being loved, but there's something to be said about being the villain. Being the villain, being the bad guy. Say hello to the bad guy.
Raise a remote.
I mean, you gotta like it. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's what it takes. Geno will tell you because Geno's the bad guy in a lot of people's eyes. He could give less than a damn most of the time, which is one of the reasons we love him so much.
What does it mean? What does it mean for him? He hasn't won since 2016 in the game. The game has changed.
You know, the game has changed. NIL, brands, businesses, players being their own bosses. That's what has made things harder. You've seen, as you know, in the men's game, so many coaches retire because of the challenges, the nature of where the game is, athletes, student athletes as their own brands. You know, it's harder to manage those situations, but now you're seeing him be close to the mountaintop again. This is the all-time winningest coach in basketball, Geno Auriemma. But what I love is that in years past, it used to be the dominance of the Genos, of the Pat Summits, of the Tara Vanderveers, of those powerhouse institutions. Now you have stars that have elevated their game and enter the conversation, but now you're seeing the confluence of that